Marin's log, May 4th, 3329. The political climate on the continent is worse than I feared, especially within the Macaw Empire of Ashikuk. Some time ago, the Emperor and his court chose to punish House Kucha, a once prestigious family, by taking away its lands. The exact terms of the punishment seem to be buried deep within the imperial bureaucracy. What I do know is that the territory will eventually be returned to Kucha, assuming they start behaving as is expected from a member of the imperial court. Proud as they are, House Kucha has chosen a different path. Through my contacts, it has become to my notice that they will not try to rein in their frustration anymore. Instead of enduring and letting things run their course, the Kucha will try to seize control of a completely new area. From their ocelot neighbors, no less. Their rashness endangers the stability of the entire continent. As such, I've chosen to intervene. I will have to proceed with subtlety and caution, since I don't want the situation to escalate further. I shall try to call in favors within both the Empire and the Ocelot nation, Sakawu. A steady flow of information from both nations is vital. I will also need eyes and ears on the field, talented individuals capable of suppressing engagements and preventing unnecessary bloodshed. Relevant information on suitable candidates has already been gathered. It's a leap of faith to let strangers in on my plans, and even more so to give them the authority to operate on my behalf, but I fear I'm out of options. The future of our homeland is at stake. Dawn of Peacemakers is a game where 1 to 4 adventurers step between two warring armies and try to bring about peace. As a solo experience here, I've chosen to operate 2 adventurers. We have Nabo, who's a marbled polecat that is described as a daring collector, and we have Yenar, the Agami heron, who is a tireless field scholar. They are going to be getting between the scarlet macaws and the ocelots, who are at war with each other, and trying to decrease their motivation to fight each other and to leave the battlefield in peace. So I'm just going to dive straight into it, and you can see how the game works as we go. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to activate Yenar, my Agami heron, and I'm going to use a card to move 2. So I'm actually just going to move a single movement point with that card, and I'm going to right away give some food poisoning to one of the scarlet macaws here. I'm going to give it 2 damage tokens. Now, that might seem counterproductive to a peacemaker to want to poison somebody. However, if we can get this scarlet macaw sick enough to leave the battlefield, then that decreases the motivation for the rest of the army to continue to fight. So we do a little bit of damage for the greater good here. So we've given, oh, those aren't damage tokens, those are fortification tokens. Let's give it their correct tokens here. And the reason why I'm targeting the scarlet macaws is right now their motivation is at 6. It's higher than the motivation of the ocelots to keep fighting, which is only at 4. So I need to get both the army's motivations down into the 1 or 2 range in order to win the game. If I allow them to fall to 0, then I lose because they have surrendered and one side is going to completely take over and overrun the other side. So we want just enough decrease in motivation to get both sides to leave the battlefield in peace. So I have done the turn for the for Yenar. Now for Nabo here, let's see. What I think I'm going to do is try to protect an ocelot. So I'm going to use 1 card for its movement value and just move 1 space to here. And I'm going to use the other card for its fortification to put a single fortification token into this space to give a little bit of protection to this ocelot here. I forgot to draw cards at the end of Yenar's turn. So they draw 2 cards when you're playing with 2 characters. So we'll let each side draw 2 cards, and then let's see what the armies end up doing. So the scarlet macaws at regular speed are going to be taking cover. So they're going to get extra defense if they're attacked by the ocelots this turn. The ocelots at regular speed are going to strike. So I guess it's a good job for the macaws that they're taking cover. So what will happen here is the ocelots are going to attack with the units that have the ridged bases, which are these 2 units. Now the range of this particular unit is 2 spaces, and it wants to target an enemy that is in line with its direction of attack, I think. Yes, it does. So the amount of damage it does is 3 hits. Now, because who has taken cover specifically? Units with the bumpy bases are taking cover. So actually, this unit has not taken cover. It's going to take the full 3 damage because its defense is 0. So we'll give 3 damage to this unit. And the other unit that is going to attack is the archer in the tower here. Now, its closest unit within range is the one that's sitting in the forest here. However, the unit in the forest can't be seen by a unit that's more than 1 space away. So I can't target that one. So its next target, next closest, is going to be this one here. So the archer will do 3 damage with 0 defense. So we'll do 1, 2, 3. Which gets it up to 5 damage already on the macaw soldier. The macaw soldier only has 5 health, so it is going to flee the battlefield, which is going to reduce the macaw's army's motivation to keep fighting by 1, which is excellent. That's what we're aiming for here. And then that ends the first turn. So we go back to Yenar's turn here. And let's see what cards we have. Choose one of your companion units. Discard a top card from its army's order deck. Choose one of your companion units. Give it 2 damage tokens. So it can actually... I'm going to use the 1 movement from this card to walk over here, and we're going to do some more food poisoning. I'm going to give 2 more damage to the macaw soldier here so that it ends up with 5 damage, and once again it's going to flee the battlefield and drop the motivation of the army to 4. So now both armies are at 4, but we have to be careful that we totally don't cause the entire army to flee, otherwise they immediately drop down to 0 motivation. So we have to be a little bit careful about that. Then we'll draw 2 new cards, and we'll go to Nabo, the marbled polecat here. So the cards for Nabo are: you may move one of your companion units 1 space with you while you travel. Okay. All your companion units' range is reduced to 1. So I am with a companion unit, and I could potentially, let's see. Well, here's what I'll do. Since we're doing a good job of reducing the Scarlet Macaw's motivation, what I'm going to do is use the 3 movement points on this card to go 1. I'm going to pick up this unit with my friendly guide card to move it 1 space with me to go here into the river. Now, when I leave the tower's now empty, so the Ocelot's motivation decreases by 1 to 3. And this particular unit is in a very vulnerable position in the river. It'll take an extra hit if it's attacked. So what I've done is made it a little easier to get down to that 1 or 2 motivation that we need to get to. Hopefully I haven't made it too vulnerable, but we'll see what happens. That card's discarded. We draw 2 new cards, and now we see what the armies do. So the macaws at regular speed are going to take cover again. This time it's going to be the units with the round bases that are going to take cover. However, there are none of them left. Oh, so I have to remove this card and draw a new one. That one is for units with round bases. All right. Well, the units with the bumpy bases are still going to take cover. And for the ocelots, at bold speed, roll the die. Based on the roll, adjust the attack strength of each unit in this group until the end of the round. So we have 10, which means they're going to have a +2 attack this turn. Whatever they happen, if they happen to attack. So what are they going to do? They are going to strike, in fact. Well, they're going to do a strong strike. Attack with the units with the smooth bases, which is just going to be this particular Ocelot warrior. So the problem is, I don't think the Ocelot warrior has anyone within range. Its range is 2, so despite its boldness this turn, it's not going to be able to perform its attack. And the other team's just hunkering down and taking cover here, so nothing else will happen. So now we go back to Yenar here, our Heron, and what do we want to do with Yenar? Let's see, let's use this card to move on to the commander. So the Scarlet Macaws are the only team with a commander on the board. This is Commander Sachiyamak, who is described in this manner. He is a military leader with few accomplishments to his name. Sachiyamak has seized the opportunity to earn prestige within House Quichya. He was chosen to lead the risky operation and believes it will be the first of his many accomplishments as a commander. So a lot of confidence for this fellow, but we'll see how it goes for him. Now that I'm in his space, do I want to do anything further? No, I'm going to just hang on to this card for now and pass the turn to Nabo. Nabo, what do you want to do? I think Nabo is going to look at the order cards for the army that he shares a space with. So he can choose one of the order decks, and for each card symbol he discards, he can look at the top cards in the deck and reorder them. If Yenar wants to, Yenar could also contribute a card to look at an extra card, and I just might do that. So we'll get a chance to look at 3 cards from one of these decks and reorder them in whatever order we like. So let's look at the task cards here. 1, 2, 3. We have a strike, a move, and a cover. So let's see. We want them to be attacking, I think. So let's get them to move a bit closer first on top. Then we'll get them to strike. Then we'll get them to take cover. So we'll do that order and put those back on top of that particular deck. I forgot to draw cards again for both of my characters. And now let's see what the armies are doing. The Scarlet Macaws are closing just before this task. Move each unit in the group forward 1 space. And this is happening at normal speed. So whatever is happening at normal speed. And it's a move. So they're going to be doing a double move, in fact. The Ocelots here, unexpected, roll the die. Reroll until the group with units is chosen. Replace the insignia of this order's task card with the rolled insignia until the end of the round. So what is our task card? It is a move, the round-based characters. Let's see if that changes. Whoa. All right, we have the ridged. So that is going to change to the ridged units are going to end up moving at normal speed. So everyone's moving at normal speed. So it's going to happen simultaneously, which is a little bit tricky because at some point they're going to run into each other and going to have to stop moving. So what I think I'll do is I'll roll to see who performs their action first, even though it's considered simultaneous. So the Macaws, we have 7. The Ocelots, we have 12. So they'll do their move first. We're going to move the ridged units forward 1 space. Like that. And that is their action completed. The Scarlet Macaws, I just realized that that's a round unit card, so I'll have to take that out and actually draw a different one. Oh, they're actually going to strike this time. But first they are going to move because of this closing card. Just before this task, move each unit in the group forward 1 space. Now this unit can't move forward because there's an enemy blocking it, so it will remain there. The commander can move forward, and since I do have an adventurer with the adventurer can choose to come with the commander here, so he will do that. And then they will strike, attack with both of these units. Now the Macaw soldier here is going to strike for 3 damage. The Ocelot warrior has 0 defense, so it will take the 3 hits. And then the commander has 2 units that are 1 space away. So what it will do is look in the direction that its army wants to focus, and then it will go clockwise, and it's going to target this character as well. So the commander does 3 damage, again with no defense here. So that unit is going to flee the battlefield and cause the Ocelot's motivation to drop to 2. So they are exactly in the range that we want them to be, but now we are going to need to protect the Ocelots in order to prevent them from dropping to 0 motivation and thus causing us to lose the game. So let's see what happens here. We are back to Yenar's turn. And once again, this Yenar really likes to poison people. And that might be worthwhile doing, perhaps, to one of these units. Which unit? I'm not sure if I want to poison the leader, though, because if the commander leaves the battlefield, then that's another way for the side's motivation to drop right to 0, which, again, is a loss. So maybe what I'll do is use a card to move, and then I'll poison this unit, causing it 2 damage. And then I'll remember to draw 2 cards again. Now Bo here, what are you going to do? Now we need to protect the Ocelots. So, okay, I have Friendly Guide again, and I have 3 movement on the other card. So I'm going to use 3 movement on one card to go 1, 2, and then I can move a companion unit with me 1 space during my movement with my other card. So I'm going to move them back to the protection of the hills here, which provide an extra defense. So now I got to protect these Ocelots, make sure they don't drop any further. We'll draw 2 cards. And now we'll see what the armies are doing. So the macaws at start of army phase. At the start of the army phase, cancel the task part of this order and instead lower the motivation by 1. So it would have normally been, can't do the round smooth bases, can't do the smooth bases. They would have normally been doing a strike, but instead their own motivation is immediately dropping by 1 to 3, which is great. Now the Ocelots here, what are they doing? At normal speed, reckless, each unit in the group deals and takes double damage until the end of this round. Thank goodness that the macaws aren't striking, because the Ocelots would take double damage, which would be a little frightening. So, however, what are they doing? They are going to strike with their round-based unit. So, and they're going to do double damage with their strike after adjusting the incoming damage. Okay. So a double damage strike with the Ocelot warrior. And it does have a unit within range now, because the Ocelot warrior's range is 2. So it's going to do normally 3 damage. Oh, it's against the commander. Uh-oh, we don't want to lose our commander. But this actually could be good. So the commander has 1 defense. So instead of 3 damage, it's going to take 2. But we're going to then double that because of Reckless to 4 hits on the commander. And since 4 is half of its 8 health, what happens is the commander becomes injured, and the motivation is dropped now to 2, which is perfect. So if we can get through the army phase without anything... Oh, this is the army phase, and we've just gotten through it. So now we go to the end of the turn. We check the motivation levels. Both armies' motivations are at 2, which means they have lost their desire to fight, and both armies will flee the battlefield peacefully, and we have accomplished the goal for our first mission by getting the armies to stop fighting each other, even though we gave a few of the characters some pretty bad stomach aches. But the mission has been a success for us. Going over the results of the campaign game are going to be the sort of spoilery part of this video. So if you don't want to spoil anything, you can basically just skip this part here. I'll put a timestamp to forward you to the next part of the video. But let's see what happens as a result of both sides withdrawing from the battlefield. Again, keeping in mind that Marin apparently is our boss, the one who's got us in this position of trying to bring peace between the two armies. Expressing enthusiasm or relief aren't Marin's biggest strengths. Still, he felt both of them more than he had in years after hearing what the adventurers had accomplished. He put his thoughts on paper and sent the letter to the adventurers. I might even go so far as to admit that I had minor doubts about this plan, doubts that have now vanished. Don't let this first success lower your guard, though. Future endeavors will need your full concentration, and hubris born of success will only hinder you. If we continue involving ourselves in these matters and influencing the right folks, this incident can be over sooner than I ever dared to hope. The Quitchia scouts did not take over the outpost, true, but their commanders will get the details about the border defenses. That is what they were after in the first place. What they choose to do with that information is out of our hands. At least for the time being. I will see what I can scrape together. Meanwhile, you should follow the river downstream where you'll find Mariocan Bridges, the primary river crossing in the area. If House Quitchia decides to invade, that will be the obvious choice of route, and I will need you when they arrive. The letter ends with a wish and more words of encouragement. Good luck and safe travels. This was an important first step. Marin's letter was certainly something new for the adventurers. In their usual careers, appreciative words had been few and far between. Having finished reading the letter, the adventurers head east with their next mission fresh on their minds. Congratulations on fulfilling your victory condition in the first scenario. Both sides withdrew from the battlefield. Draw the outcome card number 1 and read the reward section of it. You can use this special effect once during scenario 2. So, our outcome card gives us the following reward. Outside resources. Wine, cheese, fruit, sweets, spices, all from faraway lands with exotic names, all far above their pay grade, sent by an anonymous benefactor. After setup, draw 2 cards from the resource deck. Show them to all players and collectively decide which 1 or 2 players places them into their hands. So a little bonus for the start of the second adventure. Now you might be thinking, wow, that was a fast game, and that's exactly what I'm thinking too. I've actually played the game 3 times now. The first time was a little solo game to get a feel for it. The second time was with my 2 kids as a 3-player game, and then this was my 3rd experience with the game, and it was by far the fastest game that I've played. Everything just worked out really perfectly for how things just kind of came together. I certainly don't expect future scenarios to be that easy. This is the only scenario I've played so far, and I will basically get to unlock more things as I progress through the campaign. If you want me to continue to record as I play through this campaign and post videos of each gameplay, let me know if you found this interesting and if that's something worthwhile for you. Obviously from here on out, it would be nothing but spoilers as I progress through the campaign, but if you want to follow through it with me, just let me know. And maybe I can continue to record these. Oh my gosh, I am so glad somebody took the time to watch this video. If you could just do me one more favor and consider giving me a thumb up, maybe subscribe to my channel or share the link to this video with somebody who you think would enjoy it, I would really appreciate that. Cheers.